Got some jams now from the obscure file going to Billboard's Hot 100 again, early 1968. Let me go to it right now. Song at number 89, but let me get the exact date of this Billboard Hot 100, January 27th, 1968. Some of the big hits that you might remember from this Hot 100. Heard It Through the Grapevine by Gladys Knight, their version of it. That's at number 9 that week on Billboard's Hot 100. Nobody But Me by the Human Beings. Susan by the Buckinghams, one of my favorite songs from that era. And Different Drum by Stone Ponies featuring Linda Ronstadt. That was the first time we really heard from Linda Ronstadt back in late 67, early 68. Itchy Coop Heart by Small Faces, getting a little psychedelic. Temptations, I Wish It Would Rain, produced by Norman Whitfield off the Motown record label. Boy, that song took some big jumps from 56 to 45 to number 15, early 1968. Song that was not so fortunate, though, as far as chart position goes, but still, it's one of those jams. Man, it's cutting a slice of some of that hard, cold soul, going a little raw here. Debuted at number 100. Second week, it's at number 100. Third week, it moved up 1 to 99. Fourth week, on Billboard's Hot 100, it's up to number 89. Funky Way by Calvin Arnold. Yes, Calvin Arnold. I don't know anything about Calvin Arnold, but I read about how the record company, Venture Record Company. Now, here's the deal about Venture Record Company, the company that Calvin Arnold was on. Let's go back a little bit. Mickey Stevenson, a songwriter at Motown, producer at Motown. This guy co-wrote Stubborn Kind of Fellow by Marvin Gaye, Dancing in the Streets by Martha and the Vandellas. He played a big role in that record, Mickey Stevenson. Mickey Stevenson and Kim Weston. Kim Weston, she did that scintillating Motown record with Marvin Gaye, It Takes Two, and she did the original version of Take Me in Your Arms, which was covered by the Doobie Brothers in the mid-70s, but she was on it in 1965. Well, anyway, both of them, they left the Motown record label, and they formed the People's record label. But Kim Weston got a deal with MGM Records as a solo artist. Mickey Stevenson got in with MGM. MGM had a subsidiary, a label called Venture. It was floundering. It was a soul label for R&B artists, for black artists. But it was not doing anything. It was just about dead. It was on life support. And the people at MGM, they came up to Mickey Stevenson. They said, "How would you like to have this label? Just do something with this label, revive it." He took over. Mickey Stevenson took over the Venture label. He brought in a roster of Motown writers, singers, and engineers, and signed up Calvin Arnold. Although this song, Funky Way, sounds a lot more like a Stax record or an Atlantic record, maybe something produced by Jerry Wexler, as opposed to being a Motown record. You can hear the difference between Stax. Stax got that more of a raw, more of a harder edge soul, whereas Motown tend to be a lot more polished. But anyway, it didn't work out. The label died. It sank. It tanked. 18 months later. Mickey Stevenson, there's a couple of reasons for that. It's because the promotions people in MGM or at the Venture record label, they didn't know how to promote a black artist. They didn't know how to market them. And Mickey Stevenson's forte was writing and producing, but he was caught up running the record label. So there you go. But you still got this jam. By the way, that funky way or funky lady, was it Funky Way? I always forget the name of these songs. Funky Way, also covered by Rufus Thomas. But anyway, we got Rufus Thomas, or Calvin Arnold rather, Funky Way at number 89 on Billboard's Hot 100 back in January 1968.